What's up, everybody? This is Carl from Techful Goodies, and today we're looking at something pretty cool. I've been looking forward to this. Now that I'm doing sort of content creation, I have a lot more files that I need to store. They just don't sit on my hard drive. I wanted to have a lot of space to be able to store all these files. So I started looking into NAS solutions, this network attached storage, and there's so many options out there, and I wasn't sure what to pick. I tried some homegrown options or some different things, some DIY projects. So when the folks over at Ice Whale contacted me and said, hey, would you like to try out our Zimablade? I said, absolutely, because what they do is they provide a full DIY NAS kit that's ready to go. So here it is. So this is the Zimablade itself. It's basically a single board mini computer that comes with its own case and own housing and has a couple of really cool features that work great for like a home NAS system or even a home server. You can install things like Plex or Jellyfin or any of the other sort of home server applications like Home Assistant very easily and get that set up and running. But in this particular video, we're going to go through and set it up as a NAS and show you how to do that, okay? So here is the device itself, and here are all the things that it comes with. And here is the actual Zimablade itself, okay? Now you can buy this separately and you can use it for whatever you want, but I also asked them, hey, I'd like to do a DIY NAS video. I'm really looking forward to trying out your NAS kit. So they sent out this entire kit, okay? So in the kit, first is a hard drive rack mount, and you'll see how this works later. Also comes with a SATA cable to be able to hook up 2 different hard drives. Power cable, different adapters based on your location, and a 4K adapter for hooking up like an HDMI monitor, okay? Not only does it have the normal I/O on the front, like a gigabit Ethernet, USB 3.0, Type-C port, and a mini HDMI port coming out. It also has a PCIe slot on the side here. Now, I won't be taking advantage of this just for this NAS, but if I wanted to, I could get like a card that you normally put into your computer, like a card that has extra Ethernet ports. Maybe I wanted to upgrade my speed from 1 gigabit to 2.5 or 10, I could do that. If I wanted to have extra SATA connections, anything that you want, it's just like a normal computer, but it has this PCIe interface. So right off the bat, this by itself is extremely powerful. And then the kicker for me was looking on the back here, you actually have 2 SATA connections as well as a SATA power connection. That's where this cable comes in, and it allows you to basically hook up 2 hard drives as if they're internal hard drives. Let's go ahead and jump into this, and this might be a little bit longer of a video, but I'll have chapters down below so you can jump around, or I'll take my time and explain everything if you want to follow along with me. Now, even though this is a NAS kit that comes with pretty much everything you need, there are 2 things you're going to have to pick up in order to finalize this setup. One, this does not come with any RAM or any memory pre-installed, okay? So you're going to have to pick that up. Now, it's not a difficult thing to do. I will show you step by step here how to do that. And then you're also going to have to pick up a set of hard drives, okay? So I'll show you what I got. So for the memory, I just so happen to have this little 8 gig DDR3 laptop SODIMM chip here that I had already taken out of an old computer, and I just had it sitting around because I had already upgraded that computer to a larger memory capacity, so I had these sitting around. Okay, so this is going to work here, and I'll leave links down below for things you can take a look at that you could potentially pick up, including memory and hard drives. And the other thing that I picked up, which I'm excited about, is these. These are 3.5-inch hard drives. They're sort of enterprise NAS hard drives. Now, for this, you don't have to use HDDs or hard drives. You can use solid-state drives if you want to. I'm going to use this because I felt like I could get a better deal at a larger amount of storage, and I picked up 2 of these, and I will show you later why. So this is a 12 terabyte drive, and it's plenty fast to keep up with what I want to do as a home user. Okay, so I have 2 of these. I'll leave the link down below. It's about $100 each. Not bad for 12 terabytes worth of storage. What do you do first? Because this is a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff here on my desk. What do you do first? Okay. So the first thing we're going to want to do is install the memory. And that's fairly easy to do. You just need to know how to take this little Zimablade apart. Okay. So the first thing you need to do is just come in here and pop off one of these sides. and you'll notice it pops off like that, and then you simply just sort of lift it up and pull it off, okay? So this is sort of the outer shroud, and then you have an inner plastic that's covering up the board itself, and it has small little screws here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take out those screws, and they're fairly long screws, as you can see here, so make sure you pull them all the way out so that everything disengages. And once you do that, this simply lifts off of the front and you have access to the board on the inside here. And you can see, even though it is a bit complicated, I think what we're doing here as a home user is fairly simple. All you have to do is take your RAM, and this is the only time you'll probably have to open this up, pop it in here so you can see that basically there's a notch in the RAM and a notch in the slot itself. You just kind of slide it in at an angle here. So you can see it's angled up a little bit. And then you pop it down and these two arms engage and you're done. It's that simple. You don't have to do anything else. It's good to go. And this has 32 gigabytes of onboard eMMC memory. So it's basically a chip that has everything on it already. Zimablade and the folks over at Ice Whale have created a CasaOS, and that's already pre-installed on here, and that's what we're going to use because it makes sharing on your network so easy. Okay, so we're going to pop this back together. And then we're going to pop this back on. Make sure you're using, obviously, the right side, but it's pretty hard to mess up, which I almost did. So we'll go ahead and pop this on one side, pop it around the other side. Make sure the little plastic tabs here engage, and you're all set to go. So what do we do now? Then now what we want to do is go ahead and get CasaOS booted up and started, okay? Now what I'm planning to do is to have a headless unit. What that means is that there's no monitor. It basically just turns on and stays on, and I can administer it remotely from any computer on my network. That's really awesome because I don't have to sit over where this is and try to bring a monitor over there and get that all set up. I only have to hook this up to power and to Ethernet, and then I'm good to go. But what I am going to do is hook it up to a monitor just off the bat so you can kind of see what happens. And that way I know everything's booting up and getting started and there's no errors, okay? Because who knows, if there was an error with the memory chip or something like that, I would be able to see it on the screen. So I'm just gonna, for the time being, bring over this gigantic portable monitor. And the reason that I have such a big monitor here is just so you'll be able to see what's going on maybe from the top-down view. Because they did give this connector right here, I can use this. Simply just use the adapter here because that adapts the full-size HDMI to the mini or micro HDMI. I think it's mini HDMI. Plug that in there, and then plug in the power. So once the power is plugged in, you're going to see everything start up. And I'm not going to look, and I'm not going to put a keyboard or mouse or anything on here because I don't need to, because it's already set up for me. Like I said, I can administer everything from a computer on my network. So this is running Debian Linux. That's kind of behind the scene. And also CasaOS, which is their front end graphical interface, is already on here. So what I'm seeing now is that I'm at the login screen, okay? So that means that this machine is all set up and good to go for me to connect to. Now, the next step is to make sure my hard drives are connected to the machine and ready to go too. So I'm gonna have to go over and hook it up to Ethernet on my router or wherever I want it in order to be able to have it as part of my network. And our next step is to hook the hard drives up in here. Okay, so this little rack right here will fit 2 of these hard drives. Word to the wise, I will leave a link down below to these hard drives if you want to pick them up. They are refurbished. I'm willing to take that chance on storage of the data because what I'm planning to do is have 2 of them. One is the primary drive and one is the backup drive. I'll show you how to set that up within CasaOS, but if one fails, I can easily get another one, replace it, and everything will just seamlessly continue to work. That is a fairly secure backup method. Now, when you have both of your hard drives in the same house, if your house burned down, everything's gone. So you may want to consider doing something like an offsite backup too, but that depends on how critical your data is and how much you want to protect it. I'm fine taking the risk of just having 2 drives in my house and not really worrying about it, but I might incorporate a cloud solution in the future. The other thing to know about hard drives in general, or any kind of drives that you buy, is they typically need to be initialized. If you just go ahead and just hook these straight up, CasaOS will have an issue with that. Unless you're really experienced with Linux, you can go ahead and initialize that all straight through the command line, but I'm not. So I'm a Windows guy. So what I did, just for the heck of it, and just for usage in the future, is I picked up one of these hard drive enclosures. So you can see here, this wasn't too expensive. Basically, your hard drive kind of just pops in here, just kind of plugs in, and this will support 2.5-inch and 3.5-inch drives. And what that allowed me to do was basically hook it up to my Windows machine, open up disk management, and initialize that drive and get it all set up. And then what'll happen is when CasaOS sees it and you add it as storage, which I'll show you later, then you will be able to format it to whatever format that works good with the Linux. I think it's ext4 or something like that. We'll look later. So this is nice. I'll leave that link down below too. So the way this works is basically all you do here is go ahead and slide these into the slot, just like this. And once you've slid those in, what you're going to want to do is screw in the side here just to secure the hard drives. I'm just going to use 2 for now, but I might add some more later. So that's basically just going to hold them in place. I'm going to put them both in. And if you do computer stuff, I'm sure you have computer screws laying around. I just had this little box here of computer screws and thumb screws. In fact, I could probably use these thumb screws to put these in, but I'm going to go ahead and just use regular screws. Okay, so now those are screwed in, and here it is. So basically you have this little rack here right now, and now we need to hook up the Zimablade to it. So they do give you 2 options. I have 2 hard drives, so they have this one here for 2, or they give you this one here for 1. So on this here, you have power that connects to the Zimablade, and you have 2 SATA connections that also connect to the Zimablade, and then these connect to your hard drives. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and plug them in here. You can see on the back, it's very easy to do. Make sure that they line up correctly. We'll plug this in here. Easy peasy. Plug the second one in here. So now we've got them both hooked into the hard drives, okay? Now the next thing we want to be able to do is hook them into the Zimablade itself. Like I said, in the middle here is power, and on the outer side are the 2 SATA connections. So I'm going to feed them through. Hook up one. And there's only one way you can hook these up. It's not like you can switch them around. There's actually a little notch on the inside here that you'll be able to look at. Okay, both hard drives are connected. And the last thing to do is hook up the power. Alrighty, and so here you go. Here is the full box unit itself. Everything's hooked up except for the power. And it's basically just like having a computer tower with everything hooked up inside of it. So I think this is pretty awesome. So what I'm going to do now is hook up the power and the HDMI video just to make sure everything's loading up and there's no errors. And now I know like this seems like a lot of steps, but really in reality, it's easier than putting together a computer. You're just kind of plugging in things. And if you follow along with me, super easy to do. HDMI plugged in and power plugged in. Now you'll hear your hard drive spin up if you're using actual spin up hard drives. And Zimablade will launch. Now again, this will not have any sort of monitor on it, but you can always hook up a monitor to see what's going on. But I'm planning to just basically have it sit in my utility closet or by my router so I can have it directly hooked up to Ethernet. And that way I'll get the fastest speeds to this directly. If you're going over Wi-Fi to it, that's fine. But if you're going directly over Ethernet, you'll get that 1 gigabit speed, okay? Now, if you ever need to log into the shell on this by hooking up a keyboard and mouse, you can do that. On their site or on their help site, you can see, I think the login might be CasaOS and the password might be CasaOS to begin with. I might go in later and sort of fiddle with that, but I'm behind a firewall and all that kind of stuff, so I'm not worried about that right now. I might change that later, but I'm not worried about it right now. I just want a plug-and-play solution to give me some storage stuff. So we're at the login screen. I don't know if you can see that. I'm not going to lift everything up, but basically it just says CasaOS login. What that means is that I'm now set and I'm done with the hardware. My NAS is completely set up. All I need to do is use the web admin interface, which we will go to next, and set that up. I'm going to unhook this from here, take it over here to where I have my Ethernet set up, and then go ahead and get it plugged in, and then come back and we will jump on the web interface, because as far as I'm concerned, all this is done. All right, so that's done. So let's go ahead and jump over here to the computer, and I will show you how to access the admin interface and get everything set up. Okay, it's very, very, very simple. All right, so over here on the computer, what we're going to type in by default is CasaOS.local. Okay, so that's the default way to access the dashboard. That's all you have to type in. If you want to change all those settings, you can. If you want to get deeper into the nitty-gritty of setting up host names and stuff like that, I'm just going to leave it like this. We hit enter, and here we are, CasaOS. Let's create our first account. So I'll hit go. I'm just going to use my first name and my password. So this is basically creating your access account for CasaOS. All right, now once you're in here, you can choose to show your news feed from CasaOS blog. I'm going to hit accept because I want to kind of know what's going on. And in here is the sort of dashboard that you're always going to see when you log into the web interface. You're going to see your CPU usage here. You're going to see your RAM usage here. Like I used 8 gigabytes of RAM. Remember, we put that in a few minutes ago. And you're going to see your storage. So this is the onboard storage to begin with. So you can see it's 26.2 gigabytes. That's that eMMC. It's a little chip on the board that already has everything preloaded. So the power behind this is the fact that you can basically manage your whole server from away from the device itself. So we're going to do a few things here. We're going to set up a shared folder, make sure it's accessible from our Windows machine so that we can start to use it and back up our files. We're also going to set up a backup from one hard drive to the other to make sure we have a backup on one drive of everything that is there. It's going to be like an incremental backup. And the other thing I'm going to do is show you the App Store. So the App Store allows you to install all sorts of things from Plex, Jellyfin, Duplicati for the backups. You can have a BitTorrent client that pulls things down all the time. So this can actually be kind of not only your DIY NAS, but also your home server. So let's jump into this, okay? First thing I want to do is go into the storage manager. You can see that it found 2 new drives, which are my two 12 terabyte drives. Now, remember, all drive manufacturers calculate their drive capacity differently, but by the time it gets formatted, it's always lower than what is advertised. I'm getting about 10.9 each, so that's great. The good thing about this Zimablade is that you don't have to use CasaOS. You can reformat and just put plain old Linux on there. You can put Windows on there. You can put Open Media Vault to be able to sort of create a RAID and do all that kind of stuff. TrueNAS. All sorts of stuff you can just put on there because it is just an ARM-based computer. So I've gone into the storage manager and I want to create storage. So when I do that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to leave these defaults, storage 1. And you can see both of my drives here. I'm going to hit format and create, and that way it will set it up how it likes it. Like I said, I think it's using ext4 for the formatting, but that's fine. I don't really care about that. I just want it to work. Now, this might take a few minutes, and that's fine because it is a big drive and it is formatting the whole thing, but hopefully it won't take that long. I know that when I did do a test with Open Media Vault, that took hours because it did into a deep format. This should format pretty quickly here. All right, so that's done. Took probably about a minute, and you can see storage 1 is here. I'm going to go ahead and create the other storage. Now you can see I only have 1 left because it is the only one that's not initialized. I'll hit format and create. All right, so that's done. It also took about a minute. So now if I go into Files app right here, comes already pre-installed, you'll see that I kind of have a data directory here. And also standard documents, downloads, gallery, media type folders. That's all fine and dandy, but that is on that small 32 gigabyte eMMC that I talked about. Just ignore that folder and that data folder. What we're going to do is look at the locations down here for storage. Okay, storage 1 and storage 2. Storage 1 is going to be my main shared drive. So let's go ahead and set that up. I'm going to go ahead and make a folder, and I'm going to call this shared files. And I'm going to click shared. Now, if you have a folder that is not shared yet, you can always come up to this little 3 dots right here and then stop sharing or if I wanted to share this folder, I can hit share. And if you want to see all of your shares, you can come down here to the shared area and you can see the shared folders. What this uses is it uses Samba, and Samba will broadcast that share on your home network and allow Windows machines, Mac machines, iPhones, etc. to hook up to it. There's still a couple things we need to do here, okay? In this shared files directory, I'm going to go ahead and create new folders, okay? I'm going to create one for me, and I don't have to hit shared because it's already inheriting the permissions from the parent directory. I'm going to create another folder for Danny, which is my son, and another folder for Colton. Now, with CasaOS and the way this is set up, there's no particular user permissions, so everyone will be able to see everything. You can, if you want to, set up user permissions, but that's a little bit more complicated and a little bit more in depth than this video is. So now I've got 3 folders set up there, and what I can actually do at this point in time, now that it's shared on my network, is I should be able to come to my file browser here, / casaos.local. And there's my shared files. Carl, Danny, and Colton. Now, done, right? I can access that. If I want to, I can actually go ahead and take this shared files and right mouse click and map a network drive so that I have I can set up maybe my H drive or my S drive for shared and map directly to that. If you are happy with this setup and the way it is, you can stop the video right now, go set it up and use it in your machine, use it in your home, all that kind of stuff. I'm just going to do a couple extra steps here. I'm going to set it up with my phone so I can use my iPhone to just send files to it. And then I'm also going to set up the backup. But first, before we can use our phones, we have to do one small little tweak to the configuration file for Samba. The reason being is that the way that Mac communicates with Samba and all their shares is a little bit different. So we want to make sure that it works correctly and you're able to copy your files with all the attributes and stuff like that. So it's very, very, very simple to do. It does mean we have to go in and edit a configuration file, but it's super quick and just needs a restart. So we go into Files. We go to the root file directory. We go to etc, and again, this is just optional. If you don't want to do this, you don't have to, but it really makes life easier to be able to take stuff from your phone and toss it on your NAS drive. Go down here to the Samba folder, and then we're going to click on the Samba Casa configuration file here. And what this allows us to do is edit this file, and the way they have this set up is that this is for the Casa shares. You can see my shared here, which is the shared files. Right above it, we're going to paste, and if there's no line above it, you can basically it's just a text editor, you can move it around. We're going to paste in this line. And what this is telling the Samba to do is to use these stream attributes and allow those on iPhone, okay? Once you've done that, that's all you need to do. We just need to restart the machine. Hit save. Close everything back down to the main interface, go up here to settings, click restart, and then hit are you sure? It's going to show you that it's restarting now. So basically the machine you have hooked up to your Ethernet is now just restarting, getting the new settings into the system and all set up, okay? And that's pretty much the last time you'll have to edit any sort of files and stuff on here, but it does make it really nice to be able to just move your files to and from your iPhone, iPad, Mac OS, stuff like that. So all you have to do is kind of wait here for it to start up. Once it starts up, you'll see that we're back in business. Log in with the account you made. And we're good to go. So let's jump over to the phone, grab your phone, and this is just for iOS. I'm not sure how to do it on Android, but you can go ahead and look that up. It's just basically how do you use a Samba share in Android, okay? So if I go to my Files app, and you'll see I have a bunch of these sort of set up that I've been testing. Go up here, connect to a server, and you're basically going to do smb://casaos.local. Connect as a guest. Next. And once you do that, sort of iPhone file manager, I feel is a little glitchy and not the best, but it may take a little bit of time. Go back out here to the main screen and you'll see your CasaOS local share and shared files. And here it all is. So what if I want to copy files from my phone to my phone or back to my phone or back and forth? So if I want to move video files from my phone to my shared drive, so let me go to my photos and go to my videos and then basically find a video you want like this. And then you're going to hit the share button in the bottom left. And we'll go down to the save to files. And again, like I said, typically the files app is, it's buggy to me and I don't like it. I try to always go back to and it takes a while. And I'm not sure why, it's just the way that this files app works. But I'm going to try to get back to the main screen so that we can kind of make sure that we're copying it to the right location. So I'm going to go back as far as I can, all the way to where I set up my CasaOS local. Now, click in here, click in shared files, click in Carl, click in transfer, and hit save. Now I'm basically just uploading a video that I took on my phone from the Photos app, but anything you want to do, you can just copy and paste, you put them in here, and that's done. See how fast that was? And the cool thing about all this is that you have the ability to browse it on Windows, Mac OS, iOS, iPad, and also within the administrative interface because you did set up this file manager. So as soon as you have copied that over, I'll go to my storage one, shared files, Carl, transfer, and there it is right now. Image 2945.movie. So that's the exact same file that I just copied from my phone to the NAS. So now I have basically a NAS set up directly connected to my internet that has 12 terabytes of storage. And I can connect with my phone, I can connect with my computer, I can do all sorts of stuff. How you want to set it up yourself at this point in time is fine, but what I'm going to do is one more step. We're going to do a backup, okay? So like I said, I have two different drives here. I have storage 1 and storage 2. So to do that, we want to jump into the App Store. So cool thing about CasaOS is that it basically has a ton of different apps that you can install. I'm going to install something called Duplicati, but you can install Home Assistant, you can install Nextcloud, Plex, just different apps that you might want to use on your home server. I'm going to go ahead and set up, like I said, something called Duplicati. It's right here. I'm going to hit install. And what Duplicati does is it basically allows you to set up a source and a destination, and it'll do backups at a certain time every day, every hour, whatever you want. And you can do it as incremental backups and go back and restore files and stuff like that. So now that Duplicati is set up, we need to do one advanced task, and that is to tell Duplicati, because CasaOS runs on Docker, and basically Docker is containers, and every container is its own little instance of things going on, and it doesn't know anything about anything else going on around it. I'm not going to get deep into Docker here, but we basically have to tell Duplicati, here's where my files are, and here's where my backup folder is. So let's go ahead into here, into the settings. And this might look overwhelming, but you can pretty much ignore everything in here. And what you're going to want to do is come to volumes, and we want to add the volumes or storage areas that you want it to know about. So you're basically telling the application, hey, here's where my stuff is. You have access to this, okay? Easiest way to do this is to come back to your file browser, go to your storage, and for your shared files, copy this path, okay? Now, go to storage 2, and we're going to make a new folder called backup files. Now, you can share this if you want. I'm not going to. I don't need to access my backup files from everywhere else because I can see them here, and I'm going to hit submit. Okay. So again, like we did, we went in here and grabbed storage, copy the path, come back out here to Duplicati, and we're going into settings, and we'll go down to volumes, and we're going to add a volume. On the host, it is located at this path that we copied, okay? Mount storage 1 shared files. And we're going to call this shared files. We're going to add one more, and we're going to paste this again, but we're going to do storage 2. If you feel more comfortable, you can go back out and copy that path. And backup files. Okay, storage 1, shared files, storage 2, backup files, backup files. Okay. One other small change you need to do when it comes to user permissions, CasaOS, and all that kind of stuff. I don't like to mess around with it. The easiest way that I've found to just get this to work is to change this to 0 and to 0. If you want a really secure backup solution, you can install Open Media Vault or TrueNAS or something onto this Zima board, and you can manage permissions and users. I'm not worried about this. I'm a home user. I just have some storage. I'm going to hit save. Once I hit save, you can see now that it's restarting and it's done. Okay, so I'm going to click on Duplicati and it's going to open a new window. And my machine only has a single account and I'm good to go. What I want to do is add up a nightly backup. Add backup. Next. And this is my general nightly backup. I'm not going to use encryption. I'm not worried about it on my home user. You can look into that if you want. Hit next. Okay, backup destination. Where do I want my files to be backed up to? I'm going to choose my backup files folder. This is that one we set up earlier, remember, in the settings. Backup files. Username, don't need any of that stuff. Test the connection. Connection worked just fine. Next. Okay. What folders do I want to back up? Go under computer and go down to shared files. Remember, we set that up before. Now you can see backup files, shared files. If you want to make it easier, do my shared files or something that you know and you'll recognize. Okay. So this is the source, and we set up the destination before. You can set up filters, exclusions. You can add a path directly. We're just going to go ahead and check shared files because everything in here, Carl, Colton, Danny, and this other file that I put in there, we want that backed up. You can set up individual backups if you want. Let's say you wanted 5 days of backup where you have another folder where you just are fine backing it up every week. You can do that. That's more advanced, but let's keep going. Hit next. I want it to automatically run the backup every day. So the first one is going to be tomorrow at 2 a.m. Okay. And I want to run again every 1 day, and I want it on every single day. Hit next. Remote volume size. So this basically, when this backs up, what it does is it chunks your files into different smaller files. I'm just going to do 500 megabytes. I think that's a decent size. And then keep all backups. No, I want to keep 4 backups for now. So basically, if I need to go restore something from 4 days ago, I can. Anything past that, it'll be gone. You can keep 1 backup. You can keep 30 backups. You can keep it up different settings here. So let's go ahead and ignore advanced options and hit save. All right, nightly backup, all set up to go. Theoretically, tonight at 2 a.m., I should have a backup run and have files on my backup folder. I'm going to go ahead and hit it, run it now. So I hit this run now button right here. It's going through and doing my backup. And again, every night it won't back up everything over again. So it won't do over and over and over. It'll actually do kind of an incremental new stuff. It'll bring new stuff and get rid of old stuff. It'll manage all that stuff behind the scenes. You don't have to worry about it. All right, so now that's done. Now what we can do is we can hop back over to our web interface, go into files, storage 2, backup files, and here's all the Duplicati files in my backup. So they're basically just all, I think, like compressed files backing up all your stuff. So basically in Duplicati, we told it to take from our shared files, back up to back files every single night. When this runs the next time, if there's new files, it will have 2 versions. And then when it runs again, if there's new files, it'll have 3 versions. What I can do if I want to, let's say I deleted something and I'm like, you know what, I need that file back. I can go back to restore, direct from your backup files, hit next, choose backup location. So that's our backup files here. Test the connection, connection worked, hit next, hit connect. And you can see all of the files, and I can restore from the different dates that have been backed up. Let's say I had 4 days ago, I can go back to that one. And then I can come into Carl and I can say, okay, I only want to restore that file. In fact, let me go ahead and delete that file. Let's go over to Let's actually go over to my transfer folder, the one we set up earlier. And I'm going to delete this. All right, so there's nothing now in my transfer folder. Come back to Duplicati. I'm going to tell it to just restore this one file. Hit continue. Original location, overwrite, and restore. Successfully restored, hit OK. And we'll hop back over here. We'll hit refresh, and there's that file back. All right, so super long video. Hopefully this was all helpful. We set up the Zimablade NAS kit, hooked up hard drives, came to CasaOS, made sure we could use our iPhone, set up a backup, set up these different files and folder, and you can do all these things on your own and get a little bit more advanced if you want, but this is just a basic way to set this up. I found this to be a lot of fun. So if this helped you out, please give me a like, give me a thumbs up down there. Subscribe. I'd love to see you back. We do tech reviews. We do all sorts of stuff here. But until next time, this is Carl from Techful Goodies, and I'm out.